And actually, one of you guys said, hey, you should start calling it Franken Lawn instead of Frankenstein Lawn. You're brilliant. Thanks, whoever you are. Hey, what's up, lawn care nuts? Thanks for coming back for yet another week, especially after my last post asking for money on Patreon. Thank you very much for coming back. All right, so today I'm gonna have a little bit of fun. I don't know if you guys know or not, but here in Pinellas County, Florida, and a lot of counties around the country, really, we actually have fertilizer bans from June 1st all the way to September. The reason they do that here is because of the runoff. We get these really heavy storms and downpours at least every other day or so here. These storms are so heavy that they'll literally wash it right away. And then what happens is that fertilizer washes down into the sewers, and it eventually makes its way out into our waterways where it wreaks havoc on the ecosystems there. Some of you would say, oh my gosh, Alan, what are you gonna do? Well, we're gonna have a little fun is what we're gonna do. Those of you who've been around for a while, you know that I'm not a huge fan of fertilizing much in the summer anyway. I just don't wanna push growth on the lawn during hot periods. And trust me, we've got plenty of fertilizer here on this lawn anyway. I don't need any more nitrogen right now. All I need to do is keep this puppy growing. By the way, I will say, the cutting that I did last week has definitely stimulated growth. There is something to that. I mean, the runners are going crazy now. Look at these runners are just going crazy now.
Crazy now.
Especially in here in the bitter blue. I mean, we're really getting some good contact. Look at this. Need to cut the strip here, but this is the domination strip. A couple of you had asked about that in the last video. So like I said, cutting it really made a difference. And so now I've got some massive runners that are starting to run out into the street and the sidewalks, as you saw. So it gives me a chance to transplant those and use those in other areas of the lawn to help thicken it up. But it also gives me a chance to see if we can bust a myth about some of these vitamin supplements. And the main one that I'm gonna test today is called SuperThrive.
SuperThrive.
So one thing I've learned being here on YouTube is that you guys in the community, you guys are pretty smart too. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know anything about these vitamin supplements. I don't know if they're just gimmicky or if they work. Throw her down! So I'm gonna go ahead and just get the bottle of this stuff.
Throw her down!
Read it.
Throw her down!
Go through it, show you what I'm gonna do with it. We'll test it, but I'm really interested in what you guys think. So give me your opinions below and tell me if you think this is all snake oil or if it's really true. Throw her down! Because the stories that I hear around it are miraculous.
Miraculous.
The most frequent story that I hear is the one about the landscaper that put in the palm trees at Disney World. And I don't know which palm trees, there's bazillions of them, but apparently the original palm trees put in at the Disney World location were transplanted, and SuperThrive was used during that transplant. And apparently they didn't lose any, or maybe they only lost one out of several hundred or several thousand. It depends on who gives the account and where you hear it and where you read it as to how miraculous this was.
Miraculous.
And some people even claim that it was in the middle of the summer and there was all these different best practices that were broken, but SuperThrive is the reason that all these palm trees survived so well at Disney.
Miraculous.
So as you can imagine, that kind of created this cult following, and it also created a lot of urban stories and urban tales around this product.
SuperThrive.
To the point where even recently, I've talked to one landscaper who is a Florida landscaper in his blood. He goes back generations. His family have been landscapers here, especially in the Pinellas County area, for years, and he swears by SuperThrive. In fact, I can see the passion in his face and hear it in his voice when he was telling me, hey, I know you can't fertilize in the summer. You have got to use SuperThrive.
Miraculous. SuperThrive.
So let me just say it right now, SuperThrive is not a sponsor. I actually reached out to them just to see if I could get more information, and they didn't respond. So I have not talked to them or anything, and I'm gonna go to Home Depot right now and pick some up, and I'm gonna pay for it myself, and we're gonna use it, and we're gonna see if it works. We're gonna have a little fun, and again, I look forward to your comments below. So it's out. That's a sign, huh? Completely empty. Here, I see some right.
Cashier, you can't really do a whole lot.
Okay. So he's the cashier, and he told me basically he can't do a whole lot, but I found it right here.
It's very possible. I'm not 100%.
Okay, so we got our SuperThrive. So now what we're gonna do is what we should do with any time we're gonna apply anything to anything is we should read the label and instructions, and it looks like we got a lot to read here. Throw her down! So the first thing I notice is this is like totally like throwback fonts, colors, layout. I suspect this probably hasn't ever been updated. I think they probably have realized that they can stay with the brand equity of this kind of legendary, tonic kind of look. Throwback, the old ways are the best ways, hippie kind of thing. I bet people that eat gluten-free, non-GMO, grass-fed, grass-finished, I bet you they would really like this too.
SuperThrive.
Okay, so the mix rate that I'm gonna use here is for the bare root ball, and it's a 1.5 teaspoons per 5 gallons of water. Now, I don't have a 5-gallon bucket. I've got 3s, but I can get a pretty easy measurement because I can do a 2.5 in here. So we're just gonna cut the rate in half. All right, now we're putting them in for a 15-minute soak. And to keep it fair, the ones that aren't getting SuperThrive are still getting a 15-minute soak. They're just getting it in regular clean water. All right, so while those are soaking, I've got another idea. What can we do to apply this to a lawn? And what lawn would be a good candidate to get tested with this vitamin snake oil stuff? So the application instructions are a little weird for lawns. It says 3 ounces per 100 gallons of water, and that covers 1,000 square feet of lawn. This area behind me is about 1,000 square feet. Do you know how long it would take to spray 100 gallons on this? I mean, you'd have to just stand there and kind of soak it.
Soak it, soak it.
Most lawn products are more measured in like a couple of gallons per 1,000, not 100.
Soak it.
I also don't have any equipment that really tells me what my gallons per minute are coming out of any kind of spigots or anything I have. But one way that I can measure it is to do what's called a bucket test. And before I do a bucket test, I've got to figure out a means of application. In other words, how am I going to spray this? And I've got a perfect idea. You guys remember the SunJoe company, right? Well, they called me up and they said they wanted to send me this pressure washer, and I'm like, I don't know anything about pressure washers. I'm a lawn guy. And they're like, well, do you still want the pressure washer? I'm like, sure, I'll take the pressure washer.
Soak it, soak it.
You see, the pressure washer has like a tank on it that you can put soap in, and then the soap push into the line like in an even, consistent way. So I figured, why wouldn't we try this with this vitamin stuff and just hose Frankenstein down and see what we get? Don't try this at home, kids. This is not the right way to apply a lawn application, but sometimes this lawn care nut's gotta have a little fun.
Soak it, soak it. SuperThrive. SuperThrive.
Actually, it looks like a Star Wars robot. Or like an off-colored minion. That's what it is. It's a funky colored minion. Reach for the sky, punk. Thug life. Gong, chicka, gong, 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 gong. Okay, so let's bucket test and let's see how many gallons per minute we're getting out of this. So you probably can't see it, but it's marked here. See, 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3 gallons. So I want to see how many gallons per minute I'm putting out. Now it's pretty simple to do this. You don't even have to run it for a full minute. You can just run it for 30 seconds. And all you're going to do is you're going to run your hose full blast for 30 seconds in the bucket. And once the end of 30 seconds is going to be done, you're going to see how much is in and multiply it by 2, and that's your gallons per minute of output.
Just above 2 quarts. So 4 quarts is a gallon.
So if in 30 seconds we got 2 quarts, then that means in 1 minute we get 4 quarts or 1 gallon. So with this spray nozzle, which is the 40 degree, we're getting a gallon a minute. So if we were to follow the label on the SuperThrive and put down 100 gallons per 1,000 square feet, we'd have to wait 100 minutes to get an application of SuperThrive on this small 1,000 square foot area. And my friends, I don't have that kind of time. So it looks like I can adjust the flow here. You know, positive. So it looks like I can open it wide open, or so what we'll do is we'll start with a little lower setting here and see where we go.
Soak it.
So when I realized that a gallon a minute and 100 minutes of spray, that wasn't going to work, I decided what I would do is just put 3 ounces of product into the holding tank and then just watch it spray out. So I would kind of be spraying by eye. Once the 3 ounces were gone, I should be done with my 1,000 square foot of spray. But as you'll see, I soon found out that with a pressure washer, the only way to actually create enough back pressure to suck that stuff out of that tank is to use the special nozzle that's designed to output soap. So when I finally discovered this little tidbit, again, I told you I'm not an expert in pressure washers, I would have had to go back and do another bucket test. And to be honest with you, it was getting late in the day and I am pretty darn tired. So I was just like, you know what? We're going to throw her down and we're going to soak it. All right, so we got SuperThrive there, just water right there. We're gonna plant in this spot right here. So here's the video. So remember, no SuperThrive, thrive. SuperThrive, non-SuperThrive. So there you go, guys, all finished. I will tell you this, back here where I sprayed Frankenstein, it is strong, it stinks. I mean, I can smell this really hardcore. You can definitely tell something was applied. As far as it goes out here, I can tell you that our technique, as far as transplanting sprigs and turning them into these beautiful plug-looking holes, this is legit. Check it out. So these are 2 beautiful plugs created from runners that would have just been discarded when we edged along the sidewalks and along the street. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, and as always, I hope this tip's been helpful to you. I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut, and I'll see you in the lawn.